So I'm moving to university in 5 days, and if there's one thing that I think almost the entire world can agree on about university, it's that it costs money, and usually copious amounts of it. And if there's one thing that I want you guys to know about me, it's that I do not have copious amounts of money. So you might be thinking then, Crazy Boy 23, why don't you just get a job instead of playing Minecraft in your room all day? Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because that's actually what today's video is about. So, for the better part of the last 3 years, I've been working as a lifeguard for my local YMCA. And that has been an absolutely fantastic job. But because I'm moving away for university, I just can't work at my local YMCA anymore. And I'm moving away for university. I'm moving like 2 hours away. So, not exactly the easiest to make that commute. So, I looked around for a bunch of jobs. I thought about maybe getting a transfer to the YMCA where my university is. That doesn't really work. It's like the YMCA is like 20 minutes from my university. I want to have a convenient job. So I got the idea to work on campus. It would be good because I'd be nice and close to work, and they'd be conscious of my exam schedule because all of the employees are also students. It just seems like a really, no downsides plan. Oh my god, we're so cooked. So the university's website had two job offerings. One was for a lifeguard slash instructor position where I could lifeguard the pool but also teach kids classes. And one was for a life saving instructor position. Hey guys, editing Crazy Boy 23 here. I'm gonna play this next series of clips because it shows that I'm really good at Minecraft, but it also gives context for the next thing I'm gonna say. Lifeguards, so that initial. Okay, I just got a crazy team wipe. So I looked at these two jobs and I saw that the lifeguard position paid $17 an hour, which is not bad. It's above minimum wage, and it was great. But then I looked a little bit further down at the instructor position, and that paid $27 an hour. So I thought, oh baby, you know what I'm doing. So I looked at the prerequisites for both jobs. Lifeguard slash instructor, obviously I already have all the prerequisites for that. I've been working as a lifeguard slash instructor for the last 2 years. Life saving instructor, oh man. The list was long here. So then from that point on, I started my huge process of getting all the certifications to teach lifeguards how to be lifeguards. And to be honest, that process wasn't that hard, it was just time consuming. A lot of the courses you need to teach lifeguards how to be lifeguards is not so much content based, but it's how to actually do it. So it's not that annoying to learn the material, it's just kind of time consuming. Okay, so I died again. So I did most of my courses relatively fast, and as I got to the final ones on my list, I learned about this, kind of leveling tree about this life-saving courses, and you could get to a lot of points. Jesus, there was a lot of job titles high up on this roster, I guess this tree that one paid a lot of money, but also just seems a lot more interesting to do. Basically, you get to be the teacher who teaches the teacher who teaches the blah blah blah. You got the idea. The tree keeps on going. So a step up on this tree is learning how to teach the standard first aid life saving course. And surprisingly enough, it's not required for a lot of lifeguarding jobs. You can get away with emergency first aid or sometimes the first aid courses that come with basic lifeguarding. So, seeing as I already had the certification, being able to teach it would I think be a really big leg up in the competition. Oh my god! So I finally get to this first aid course, and it's a little bit awkward because I'm by far the youngest one there. Most people. Oh my god! Did you guys see that? I'm not on blue team. Oh my god! Oh my god! And I got the kill. Oh my god. Anyway, I got to the course, and immediately, when the instructor was doing attendance, I recognized one of the people from the course, and I was like, "Hang on." So, for the purposes of this story, we're gonna call her Mrs. Aquatics. Um, and I recognized her because she was the director of aquatics for my university, and I was like, "Whoa, how perfect!" So, halfway through the course, I go up to her. I'm like, "Hey, you work at my university, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, why?" And I was like, "Well, I'm going there next, like this fall, and I'm hoping to apply for the lifeguard position and now the life saving instructor position. Hope considering I get this course." And she was like, "Oh, that's great. If you do well in this course, I'm sure we'd be happy to accept. Just make sure you shoot me an email, and for the lifeguarding thing, we'll go through the normal application process." And I was like, "Okay, great." So I go home feeling super duper ecstatic. I've secured myself, as far as I know, pretty much 2 jobs at my university. So maybe I'll get that tuition break. Maybe I'll do all that stuff. We had a little bit of a discussion of why I wouldn't get a tuition break, but I had to come up with a plan to avoid that. So things were looking up for good old Crazy Boy 23. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. So I sent in my application for the lifeguard slash instructor position, um, which I think it was a pretty good one. But unfortunately, um, because I had been working as a lifeguard and instructor at my YMCA this whole time, I did not have a crucial certification. It was completely legal for me to work without the certification because it was just a Life Saving Society branded swim instructor's position, which is not required for a lot of jobs. So what my old job did, which was a little bit cheeky, but I think it was legal, so I'll be fine talking about it, was hire me without the instructor certificate because they hired me on as an assistant instructor. And then as they watched me, assist and do pretty well, I might say, they agreed to give me a YMCA branded instructor certificate. Alright, I might just have to cut away every time I die. It's like mad embarrassing. And that's just how it was. For the last almost 3 years, I had just been working with my YMCA branded instructor certificate, and that was completely fine. So I sent in this application to my university. I put my availability in, which is super duper nice. I didn't think I'd have any problems. But then I received this email about 2 weeks after I submitted the application. My university emails me and says, "Hey, Crazy Boy 23, unfortunately, we are unable to consider you for the instructor position at this time." And I'm like, "Huh? Why would that be true?" I've been working as an instructor for a super duper long time. How could I not be qualified to be an instructor? Okay, I died again. So the reason they decided they couldn't consider me for the instructor position, they said I was fine for the lifeguarding one, was because I didn't have this Life Saving Society branded swim instructor certificate. And I was like, okay, honestly, that's fair. But could you make an exception considering the fact I have a swim instructor certificate, it's just not the one you want. I have been working as a swim instructor for the better part of 3 years, and I have all of these other certifications, including my standard first aid instructor, my emergency first aid instructor, my bronze cross and medallion instructor, my bronze cross and medallion examiner, my emergency first aid and standard first aid examiner. I've got all this stuff. Can I please just have a job as an instructor? And to be honest, I kind of regret that because the instructor hours are so much worse for, like, honestly not that much more pay. But they emailed me back and they said no. And I was like, bro, okay. I mean, I guess I can just be fine with being a lifeguard. So they said, whoa, I just got cooked. So they said, no, you need the Life Saving Society branded swim instructor certificate. And I was like, okay, well, I guess that's it. But then, not 10 minutes later, I hadn't even formulated a response to their email yet. They messaged me back and they say, "Congratulations, Crazy Boy 23, you're in. You have been accepted to the first round of screening for the instructor slash lifeguard position at the university." And I was like, huh? So I responded and I was like, that's great. Is there anything else I need to do? Like, are we sure it's not a problem? They have not gotten back to me. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Instead, what they did was send me another email that told me all of the screening information and told me what I needed to come prepared to do, which is teach a little bit of a course. They sent this email to me and 42 other people, um, which was a little bit daunting, especially because they said there were only 30 slots for this job available. So I hope this is not gonna be like a Hunger Games style thing where, like, we have to compete for the last 12 slots. I do still need to email Mrs. Aquatics, the lady I met at that course, for the life saving instructor position because, the actual application, if I were to apply for real, is due in 4 days. Wow, actually, the same day I move to university. And I think I need to go through at least a little bit of a regular application process. So I'm a little bit worried about that. Hopefully it goes well. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm kind of in this weird limbo state. There's been a couple of funny things with the email, like people replying all instead of just saying, yes, I can make it to the screening, like I did. They replied to all 42 people. And, the university probably shouldn't have sent the message to 42 people. Normally, you blind CC people on that, but, I guess they didn't think about that. And now we've got this guy, Gabe, whose name I feel like I can say because I don't know him. I'm assuming, nobody watching this video would know him either. Who decided to reply all and notify all of the lifeguard instructor candidates that he does not have a bathing suit and will need to be buying one for this year at the university. So I would like to personally thank Gabe for letting everybody know. And I mean, I guess that's where we're at. I'm kind of nervous. Hopefully the screening goes well. The screening is in 11 days. But I think it'll be fine. It doesn't seem to be like a rigorous process. And I've been working for 2 years as a lifeguard instructor. So hopefully, at least, I don't wanna be too cocky about it, but hopefully it's not going to be like super. Oh my god, that was bad. That was really, really bad. Hopefully, it's not going to be too difficult of a screening process. I mean, it's also like the first round of screenings, so I can't imagine it would be like, the most hard stuff they can muster. But I guess, yeah, that's it for this video. Wish me luck on defeating blue team. And oh, I guess there's one red guy left too. And wish me luck on this job. I'll see you guys in the next one.